with us today, Dawn from BizLinks. Dawn, there's nothing, Dawn, you know everything there is to know about LinkedIn. If there's anything you don't know, it's not worth knowing, I guess. You know every answer to every question. I'm sure that we'll get quizzed along as we go to the next hour. But Dawn, just want to say a bit more about what you do and how you do help businesses with your expertise.
Yes, thank you. I've been a LinkedIn coach for the last 8 years. So I use it as a sales and prospecting tool without the sell. People don't like to be sold to. So I want to just share a few tips and hints over the course of the next hour that I hope will give you another perspective on using LinkedIn to make it work for you.
Brilliant. And we'll make sure, Dawn, that we put your details up at the end. So I'm sure there'll be questions that come up during the webinar. And at the end, if people want to make direct contact with you, they absolutely can. But it's great to have you with us today. And I know you're going to do some live demonstrations in a minute. But just before we get into that, just for those who are with us for the first time, you know, in every Action Coach webinar, we say you can expect BFOs. And what are BFOs? They're blinding flashes of the obvious, and probably no more appropriate than with social media. You know, it's just simple things that we can do in, you know, using social media, using LinkedIn or whichever platform that are obvious, but we need to be reminded of them and make sure we do them on a regular basis to make the best use of social media platforms. So I hope that those listeners with us today are going to get some BFOs, and if you do stop myself or Dawn and share with us what they are. We'd love to know what those BFOs are you're having today. It's that light bulb moment where we're connecting those bits of information together that you may already know, you may not know, but you may have not connected them. And we're going to hopefully connect some of those together for you today, particularly around LinkedIn and social media. But I guess, Dawn, LinkedIn is only getting bigger, isn't it? And I was doing a bit of research just before we started, and now up to 675 million users, but about 50% of those active. So there's a huge opportunity out there, isn't it, using LinkedIn and to really grow our business and connect with the right people.
Absolutely. Yep. You'll never run out of people to connect to on LinkedIn, but it's finding those people that you can add value to and that would be useful connections.
And as I was doing my research, I started to feel quite old, because I remember LinkedIn not starting up, but when it started on the 5th of May 2003. And there's not many facts I'm going to shout at you or share with you today, Dawn, but it made me feel quite old when I realized just how long it has been around. Well, I've not been a member myself that long, but if it was a person, it'd be doing its driving test around about now, 17 years later. But what did surprise me is of all those people on LinkedIn, only about half are active at any one time. So it's still a growing platform in that sense, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
But I guess the thing about, with having 675 million users, it's how do we become that blue duck on the wall? How do we make sure we can stand out? And that's really what I'm hoping you'll be able to help us with this afternoon, Dawn, in just, how can we increase views? What kind of imagery, photos, what kind of people should we be connecting with? How can we connect with them? And I love your idea of saying, how can we connect without being too pushy? How can we not be the salesperson, but just, sort of get to know and expand our circles of influence and get to know those useful contacts on LinkedIn. So Dawn, I'll sort of hand over to you. I'm sure there will be questions that I've already can see a few coming in already. So, but I'll let you get started and then perhaps fire a few questions as we go along, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, yeah. As we come along, just dip in, that'll be fine. So I liken LinkedIn to being a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. So it's a part of two halves. The first half is putting your profile together. You can't jump in to the activity without making the most of the profile. That's the very first starting point. So I'm going to share with you a few tips and hints on the profile, because you have 3 seconds to make an impact on LinkedIn. You're not there in person, so you've only got 3 seconds to make an impact. And the most important part of the whole profile is this, your headline. The headline is scanned first for keywords. So if somebody were to search for your business, what keywords do you need to have in there? And you need to get my attention. So in terms of SEO, it's really key you have your searchable words in there. And then in terms of value, who and how do you help? So the only time your whole profile should be about you is if you're looking for a job. LinkedIn started out as a recruitment tool, but it's moved on a long way. from that. So make sure you have your value sandwich, as I call it. So I have my keywords, I have LinkedIn training, then I have workshops, so LinkedIn workshops, LinkedIn coaching. You only need one keyword. So I wouldn't put LinkedIn training, LinkedIn workshops, LinkedIn coaching. You only need to have that once. And then my value sandwich, I helping sales teams connect to their next biggest client and generate profits. That's the result of working with me. So what we don't want to have here in the headline is a shopping list of just keywords, because nobody buys a shopping list. So it's really important that you have your value here. And the great thing about LinkedIn is you can change your headline as often as you want. So I'm helping sales team this month. Next month, I might change it to business owners. I might change it to managing directors. I might change it to sales directors. You can be really clever in just changing a couple of words on your headline that will make sure it resonates with the viewer.
Am I right, Dawn? Every time you comment or share somebody else's post or do something, that headline shows up, doesn't it? So that's the bit that shows up when you comment on somebody else's.
Yeah.
I've got a question, a really interesting question actually from Simon right at the very beginning. He says, how relevant is LinkedIn in 2020? I think he's probably referring to the challenges we've all been facing over the last 6 months, but quite an interesting question to start with, I guess.
Yes. Well, as I say, it started life out as a recruitment tool, but it's much more than that. That's a sales and marketing tool. That's how I position it. So for me, it's more relevant than ever because it's online. We can't meet face to face. So online social media is really important. But the point about using LinkedIn is you need to take people off LinkedIn to start the conversations. Because when I ask people what happens when they get a new connection, most 99% of people just say, oh, nothing. So therefore, what's going to happen? Nothing.
Absolutely. So, do nothing and get nothing.
Absolutely. So yeah, we need to make sure that the profile reflects back what your target market want to see. So absolutely. As I said, don't make it all about how wonderful you are. I could put in the headline, running fantastic workshops. That's about me.
Which you do. But...
Thank you. But you need to make sure your headline is reflecting back what people want to see. Please don't make it all about you. Most people, when they look at a headline, they're tuned into radio WIFM, what's in it for me. That's what they're thinking. So if it's all about you, they're not going to be interested. So most important part of your headline, of your whole profile, is your headline. You do need a good photograph. People buy from people. So make sure you've got a good head and shoulders photograph. Don't need a logo here. This is not a company page. So we don't need a logo. We need a good head and shoulders shot. And then you have an image on the background. So the background image is a certain size. If you go onto something like Canva, canva.com, you can create a personalized LinkedIn background. You can have your contact details on there. So great thing to do in Canva.
A couple of questions I've just picked up on, just around, you mentioned about it being a personal page, Dawn. Somebody's asked how many profiles can they have? And then Simon's come back in and said, do I need a company page as well as a personal page? Absolutely. I don't know whether you want to address that now or you want to come back to it later.
No, well, as they come in, I'll answer the questions, which is great. So as a personal profile, you do need to set up a company page. The company page is a website within LinkedIn. So if you want your brand to be visible, then absolutely set up a company page. I would suggest that probably 80% of your activity will be you as a person, because people are connecting to people. The other 20% of the activity, you can share things from the company page and start to get some brand visibility out there as well. Really easy to set up a company page. If you haven't got one, if you click on work, scroll all the way down to the bottom, that's how to create a company page. It'll talk you through it.
And the other question, I'm not sure why you'd want more than one profile. The other question was, how many profiles can you have?
Yes, one. LinkedIn only want you to have one profile. If they find you have a duplicate, or you find you have a duplicate, you can ask them to remove it for you, but one person, one profile.
And I guess having more than one, you're just going to dilute the impact and effect you'd have anyway within the platform. So
yeah, absolutely. And you know, your profile should tell your journey, your work journey, so you can have all your experiences, and you get to put out there what you want people to see. You know, sometimes people say, well, I had a time off, a couple of years off for a baby. What do I need to put on that? You don't. Just leave that out. Nobody's going to be analysing your profile in that much detail.
no,
But you get to put out what I would say to people, what will add to your credibility? Because you need to have a credible LinkedIn profile.
and I guess the other thing is making sure it marries up to anything you put in print. So if you're sending off a CV, resume of any kind, make sure your LinkedIn profile matches
Yes.
within a rough chronological order, the same as what you're putting in paper.
Absolutely. So I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. And then for the second part of this, I'm going to share the marketing side.
Brilliant.
So as we look here, anything you want to change on LinkedIn is really simple. You would just click on the pencil to make the changes. Contact info section. What you can have here is you can drive traffic off LinkedIn back to your website. And you can give 3 distinct calls to action to different pages on your website. The default setting, if I just show you briefly, the default setting on LinkedIn is the word company page. That doesn't inspire me. So we come down to other, and then you can give me a very short call to action. Add 3 different websites, click save, and when people view your profile, they'll actually see, rather than just the word company page, they'll see all your details and call to action.
And what it is, yeah.
Yeah. You also have a unique link on LinkedIn. If you've never changed your unique link, you will find you have a whole host of numbers at the end. It's more difficult for people to find you. So if you do have that, very simple to change is click on, let me just go back a second, is to change that unique link. It's just hiding there, I'll come back to that in a second. So what you want to do is to have that unique link so that everybody can easily identify. And if you print your business card, you can also have that on there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, put your telephone number, really important. If you want people to contact you, put a phone number. I've never had a strange call from anyone on LinkedIn. And you do want to have your business email address there. And you can also add your Twitter. And what's great, if you add your Twitter handle, is when you're sharing things from LinkedIn, you can also tweet out at the same time. Nice time-saving tip there.
I like that one. I like a time-saving tip, Dawn. Thank you.
Pleasure. So make sure, again, like the jigsaw puzzle, that you're filling in all the areas of this profile to make it as relevant as possible. So following
Just a message from Claire, Dawn. You mentioned the website. Was it Canva? We'll just make sure we get it in the chat box on the website, on the Facebook. Canva.com, isn't it?
It is, and it's a free graphics package. It has a whole host of different social media elements to it, but they've certainly got one for LinkedIn, which is great.
Brilliant. I'll make sure that's in the chat box now.
Great. So the second most important element to your profile is the about section. So this is the part where you can go into lots more detail about who and how you help. Remember, the use of I needs to be minimal. So I am always happy to give advice, see how I can help, and I am on LinkedIn. So again, don't make this all about you. I suggest that you have a nice intro. Thank you for taking the time to view my profile. Put exactly who and how you help. You can cross-sell. If you've got lots of different services, you can cross-sell here. And then right at the end, always give a call to action. We know in marketing, if there's no call to action, people don't usually do anything. So think about the sales process. It all starts usually with a conversation of some description, where you can fact find and find out what help people need. So my personal preference is not to use the word free, because I don't think free has a lot of value, but that's my own personal. I always think complimentary is a better word. And I'm taking people off LinkedIn to talk to them. A 20-minute conversation is low risk. We're not meeting for coffee, not going to take half a day or an hour. It's just a short window of opportunity where we can start to build up some rapport, have a conversation, see how I can help.
Absolutely. I've just got a question from Sandeep, just to interrupt you again, Dawn. She said I think she's focused on your 500 connections above. She said she's only got 164 connections. Is that going to have an impact on her profile? You may well come on to making connections in a minute, I think, but just bringing the questions up as they come along.
Yes, great. So absolutely, you're looking for 500 plus connections. I've actually got 7,500, which has been, but it's kind of like, you said it earlier, Stephen, it's consistent. It's a consistent approach to growing your network. So, at one point I had 10 connections. So what you don't want to do is go and blast out hundreds at a time, but a steady progression of new connections will soon grow your network to 500 plus. You get real credibility when you're well connected at 500 plus. So don't worry, we all started out with very little, but just make it part of a habit of LinkedIn is that you reach out to new people.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dawn.
Pleasure. What you can also do is you can add some great marketing materials to your profile. So I've got videos, I've got tips and hints, I've got testimonials, I've got a lot of material that people can view. So for the visual people, they will be interested in looking at the marketing material. And it's really easy to do. You just click the little plus button and add some documents. If you're sharing some tips and hints, make sure you save your document as a PDF file, not a JPEG. It's much easier to upload. So you might create it in a PowerPoint, you might create it in Canva, but what you want to do here is add some value. Again, we're not selling anything, but add some value. But if you run workshops or you do have events, create some documents and add them here. Really, really easy to do. And, all of your events, Stephen, twice a week, put the material up here. What benefits will I get from coming along? And just have the schedule of events. So great to have your marketing material here.
A question from Claire. She's just asking, can people book onto events through LinkedIn? Is that, I don't know the answer to that actually. Dawn, is that something people can do?
No, it doesn't have a function in here. No, they'd have to message you. There'd have to be a first line connection message, unless you can have a bit.ly link. So all of your webinars can be bit.ly linked. So you can actually click on the bit.ly link and take them outside to register. Yeah.
Using another platform such as Eventbrite or whatever. Yeah.
So you have as well access to your own private dashboard. So this is a tracker. There is also something called a social selling index, Google, LinkedIn, SSI, and that again will give you another indicator on how active you are. So your dashboard is private to you. So anybody looking at your dashboard, you can only see your own. You won't be able to see anyone else's. And this is where you can have your metrics to track your activity. So I have appeared 230 times in the last month. I've had 75 comments on one of my last posts, and I've had 549 people view my profile. So you can have a look at these metrics. See, it will give you also steady approach is what you're looking for. So in the last 90 days, 549 people have viewed my profile. It's usually a lot more than that, depends how active you are. And you can actually see, somebody dodgy's just looked at me. But you can actually see on the free version of LinkedIn, the last 3 or 4 people. To be honest, I never view this. If they're looking at me, then I expect them to connect. So completely up to you whether you look at that, but it's there if you're interested in that.
Another question from Sandy, just to give you a pause for a minute, Dawn. She's saying, what's the benefit of LinkedIn over other platforms? I think she's sort of trying to gauge which one to focus her time on.
Yes, and I think my question for that is, where is your target market?
I completely
agree. If they're on Facebook, be on Facebook. If they're broadcasting on Twitter, be on Twitter. So, yeah, absolutely.
Comes back to a wider marketing question, Sandeep, and we'd love to have that conversation with you and just talk about, you know, your profiling, who you're trying to target, you know, look at a wider marketing strategy. And then LinkedIn may well be the best platform, but I think it's a question we perhaps need to take offline and talk to you individually on to see what works best for you.
Absolutely. Tap into people's expertise, and that way you'll get the right answers, as opposed to should I, shouldn't I speak to people. Yes. Absolutely. And what we're looking for here is to be all-star. When you've completed all the elements of your profile, you will be all-star, and that will make you 11 times more visible. So as you complete your profile, you'll have a little graph along here which will tell you, congratulations, you are all-star, which means you've filled it all in and optimized it to its best capability.
I'm intrigued now, Dawn. What do people tend to avoid putting in there? What do they miss out to start looking all-star?
Yeah, the most common one is their education.
Right.
So
okay.
It's been a long time since I was at school, but it's relevant more for people that are just leaving school looking for their first position, or they're just starting out their working career. So it does have to be on there. Not relevant for me, but it is for most people. So yeah, that's the one that people think, well, nobody needs to know where I went to school. They don't, but if you don't complete that bit, you won't be all-star.
Absolutely. Great, thank you.
Pleasure. So you can see here, when you're looking at somebody's profile, how many followers they've got. And obviously, the more followers you have, the wider the outreach. So again, just start building up your network day after day, week after week. And before you know it, you'll be up in the thousands, which gives you a much wider reach. I know some people have in their headlines, some people have got 20,000 connections, and they put that on the headline. And I think to myself, why would you do that? Surely 20,000 connections is great, but it's not. We're not just on LinkedIn to connect to anybody and everybody. How well do you know 20,000 people? Is your network wide or is it deep? And I would suggest you're looking for a deep network. Every single person that asks you to connect, start a conversation with them. Otherwise, connect, hundreds and hundreds of connections that you're going to do nothing with. Don't waste your time doing that. But the more active...
Step 2, step 3 are more as important as step 1.
Yeah,
making sure you follow.
Yeah, and I'm still on part 1. I've been talking now for half an hour. I'm still on the importance of the profile before you do anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to searching in a minute. So building up your network, take your time, do it wisely. Then we come down to the experience section. This is where you can add your brands. If you set up a company page, what you'll need to do is to come back into the edit mode once you've set your company page up with the logo, and just retype the company name, and it will pull the logo in. And then you would just click save. So the experience section is all about you. Take me on that journey on where you've been. I've only ever actually had 3 jobs. A nursery nurse, not relevant, 130 children a day. Then I ran a graphic design studio, and then I've just got my BNI and LinkedIn experiences. But that's tracking quite a large portion of my life. But as we go down on the experience, it gets less and less relevant. But again, choose what you want to put on here. So if you've had 20 jobs in 20 years, I would suggest you probably don't put all 20 on, because that might not add to your credibility. But tell me what you do and give me some contact details here. And then there's a link there to my LinkedIn book, which is on Amazon. So I'm not selling my book, but it's here if people want to buy it. If you've worked for some great brands, then make sure if they've got a company page, you pull that logo in. There's no company page for creative designers, the graphic design studio, so that has to stay blank. But as you've noticed, you have more detail on the top here than you would as you go down. If you're doing two concurrent things, you can actually move them around. If you've got two roles that you're doing, have the most important one at the top. That's the one people tend to read rather than scroll all the way down to the bottom.
A question from Claire. Claire, it's good to have you with us. She's just asking about non-paid roles. So where she's doing voluntary or something else that's relevant to her experience, should that go on here?
Yes, yes. You, again, adding to your credibility and the fact that you're giving and supporting, you will find here there is a volunteer experience. You just click add that on. If you haven't got one here, you'll find it up here on the add profile section. But absolutely put that on there. And if they have a company page, you can pull the brand in.
So is it better to put it there, Dawn, or is it better to put it up with your experience further up?
It can only go in that position. Right. So you have your roles first, and then volunteering is near the bottom. So you don't have a choice on that, Stephen, sorry. And then I've just put my college and my high school. But as I say, I've not gone into any more detail because it's seriously not relevant to me. If you have any licenses or certifications, that's a tricky word, that, certifications. If you have any of those, then again, please add them in there because that will add to your credibility. Last couple of points on the profile, and then I'll jump into the sales and marketing. So you have skills and endorsements here. So this is proof that you're good at what you say you can do, because I can't endorse myself. So other people have endorsed me. And what we're looking for here is the top line, 99 plus, 99 plus, 99 plus. It's really easy to endorse people. So if I wanted to, you have to be first. So I'm just going to do a search for you, Stephen. It's really great activity. It's looking good. You've obviously done some training here. As I scroll down.
I listen to what you say.
As I scroll down, I'm looking for your skills and endorsement section. So what I can do is click plus. You're very highly skilled at coaching, I know that. Training, absolutely, highly skilled. Submit, marketing. These are the top three. Submit, that's how easy it is. So they've gone up another number. So again, part of your activity is to go and endorse other people. And I would say have some integrity here. I only ever endorse people that I genuinely know. I wouldn't do that if anyone asked me, because I don't know them. But you're looking here to be credible by having them here. Top three are on display. So I'll just show you what to do. If you wanted to move them around, you can unpin, that will drop down, and then choose a different one. But the top three are the most important ones on display. If you have some people, you can have up to 50 words here. My suggestion is 10 to 15 good keywords are all you need. And if there's a word that you don't want in there, you can just delete it by clicking on the dustbin. But think of 10 to 15 keywords. And as I say, it's a great activity. So you will get a little notification, Stephen, that I've endorsed you.
I look
It's an
forward to
easy thing
receiving
to do. You will. It's an
and
easy
I shall
thing to
pop
do.
back later on and endorse you back. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. In true Givers Gain style. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, choose your 10 to 15 keywords and make it a good habit to endorse other people. To take it a stage further, the final part I want to share with you today is the recommendation section. It's a really, this probably has one of the biggest impacts on my profile, is that I've been recommended by 237 people and I've given 180 recommendations to. So the written word and somebody saying how good you are adds massively to your credibility. So I would be suggesting to people, you don't need to necessarily 237, but I've had people contact me to say, I'm looking for some training and I see you've got 237 recommendations. Can we have a chat? So it adds massively to your credibility. 237 people, can't be wrong. So again, you have to be first line connections, and really easy here just to ask or give a recommendation. If you find you haven't got this section here, it means you've never asked or given a recommendation. In which case, in order to give or ask, is go back to a first line connection. Again, you have to be connected. And there's a lovely little more button. I really love this button. Look what you can do by clicking more. I could share your profile, Stephen, with somebody I'm talking to who might need a coach or is struggling with something. I can easily share the profile.
Feel free at any time, Dawn.
I will. I can request a recommendation. So, Stephen, would you really appreciate it if you can give me a recommendation, or I could recommend you. The other little things here is you can unfollow someone if you don't like what they're saying, or you can actually remove them. If you remove a connection, it doesn't let them know you've removed them, but you can easily do that. But that little more section, most people have never even looked at, and I think there's some little hidden gems in there, like sharing a profile. So are there any more questions on the profile before we move on?
That's it from the moment, unless there's any more questions coming in from our listeners as we've just mentioned it. Oh, let me just look in the box. There's a couple in there. Does it matter about filling in the relationship questions when endorsing?
No, makes no difference. No.
Okay, so that's the last question so far. So let's crack on.
Right.
I'm sure there'll be more coming in as we go through.
Right, so we filled in our profile, credibility, and all our keywords throughout. And then we now move on to the marketing side of LinkedIn. So one easy way you can market your business is here on the home page. So my suggestion is to spend 10 minutes a day on this home page. This home page is very similar to a Twitter feed and a Facebook feed. This is the online community. This is where they are hanging out, if you like, and you can share your marketing material. If you don't have the confidence to share your own marketing material, then share other people's. So again, Canva is a great way to create some marketing material, some tips and hint documents, as I said. And liking is great. So Jackie has shared something from her company page. So I'm going to like that. I can comment on it. And then Jackie will get a notification, and I can share and send it out. So those 4 elements there are a great way to help other people get some visibility. If you do any of them, this will come back to the top and back down into the feed. So it's great to get engaged with other people's material. And as we scroll down, yeah, somebody I know there, Andrew, somebody I know there. So, okay, welcome in, Dave. So what's great is recommending other people. So if you wanted to recommend somebody, so as we know, your BNI have just welcomed Dave, which is great. So if I wanted to mention Dave Hargreaves, I would say congratulations. Again, I'm just being part of the online community. Congratulations at, so do the little at before you type the name, Dave Hargreaves. Where is he? Here he is. There he is. So congratulations, Dave Hargreaves. Welcome to BNI. Post. So that will come back up and he will get a little notification. So if you want to recommend somebody or talk about somebody, then make sure you put the little at symbol and they'll get a notification flag.
Quick question from Sarah Dawn. She's asking, does it make any difference whether you like, comment or share, or should she do all three?
Yeah, like is probably the minimum. Commenting is great and sharing is the best. And what's interesting when you share is usually goes out to anyone on the feed, but you can actually tailor it. There you would share on Twitter at the same time. You might want to send to your connections only, send something to a group. So great, so that now will hit my Twitter feed because I've shared it on that. So, you know, sharing is better than anything else, but all three would be awesome, but it's really quick to do.
And that will really help Sarah's own profile and the algorithm.
Absolutely. People say to me, Dawn, you're on LinkedIn all the time. I'm not. I'm on it for a focus 10 minutes every day, just liking, commenting and sharing.
I love that. 10 minutes a day, discipline.
Yeah, it is absolutely a discipline. And, you know, this is a continual feed. So I don't worry about I can't monitor this 24/7. I just take it in small snapshots of time where I can engage with the community. So don't worry about what's going on when you're not there. Just dive in and get involved. If you want to share something of your own, literally click start a post. And then there's the video link. If you want to upload a video to share, you will have the YouTube link, or you can share an image or an article or a document. So sharing things is great. This is one I did earlier. I like that and get back at. So you can get some great visibility. I think one of the best I saw was about a year ago, and it was a big jar of M&Ms with a logo, and the caption was, guess how many M&Ms in the jar and win the jar. There must have been tens of thousands of people commented on how many M&Ms were in the jar. You could just go and buy some if you wanted from the shop, but you know, you can be really creative with your marketing material and it can have some great responses. If anyone ever mentions you,
taps into the nostalgic side, doesn't it, with the summer fairs and school fairs.
Yeah. If anyone ever comments on something that you share, you will get a little notification flag. So if somebody would ask a question, just keep an eye on the notification flags so you can respond back to them. So the difference here between starting a post, it's a quick post that goes up and then comes down the feed, is writing articles. Now, articles are more serious documents and they do actually attach to your profile. So an article is more well thought out, adding value and sharing your expertise rather than a quick post. So again, articles are great if you like blogging, if you've got something good to say, you've got something topical. What's great is write articles regularly. Every 4 weeks would be a good period of time. So you're going to share something that people can respond to. Whatever you share, make sure you have a call to action, whether that's on a post or whether that's on an article. Always, always put your contact details on. So this is one element of the community. And when you said earlier, Steve, that's what people see of your profile, that little snapshot there. So that the
Paul's just asking on articles or posts, can you edit and remove people's comments? I think you can, can't you?
Yes, you can. and you can edit the article as well if you want to. So one way to prospect is to start searching. So my question is, and you can help people with this, Stephen, is who do you want to reach out to? Who is your target market that you've clearly mentioned in your profile? We can now go and make some new connections. So if I do a search, so let's look for, I'll just put a random one. Say for example, you're an IFA and you want to reach out to build some strategic alliances with mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
What I can do is I'm going to type a word, and please note that the word is always singular. So I'm going to look for a mortgage broker. Because it's a double word, it has to be in speech marks. If I just type in mortgage and broker with no speech marks, it will bring back tens of thousands of results. You only have so many searches a month. The good news is it does reset at the beginning of the following month, but everything I'm talking about today is on the free version of LinkedIn, not the premium versions. The premium versions, you have unlimited searches. So what we have to do is just to get around that is to put a location. So I'm looking for a mortgage broker in Birmingham. And this would apply if you were looking for, say, managing director. You know, if you can help managing directors get the most from their business, you will clearly say that in your headline, you will expand upon it on the about, and you will type in managing director and locally of where you are. So let's have a look, click enter.
Just while that's coming up, another question from Sarah, is premium worth it, Dawn?
I'll be honest with you, the people that genuinely use that are the recruiters. So I would say save yourself £1,000 a year. You can do everything you need to on the free version once you've got that knowledge.
I would agree, and just add to that, you know, make the best use of the free version first. Don't jump in at the deep end with the premium. You know, make best use of what you've got, and then see if you want to upgrade, I guess.
Yes, and you know that money could be spent with a coach, for example. So you get the best of LinkedIn, and you've got support of a business coach. So we've got 464 responses, and you can see where it's picked out from the headline, mortgage broker. So all I would do, add a note. Please check your spelling. I've only ever sent one to the wrong person once, and it doesn't look professional, so I am obsessive. Are you open to connect on LinkedIn, please? There we go. Copy and paste. Done. Okay, so we've got Connells here. You might have a look at their profile first, but then you'd go down to the next one, add a note, just change the name. So my suggestion here is to not blast 100 out in one go, because you won't manage the inbound responses that are coming back in. But if you go for, say, 2 a day, so you can keep this search up, open a new LinkedIn tab, 2 a day is 10 a week, that's 40 new connections, and it takes seconds to do.
Am I right, Dawn, in thinking there's a limit as to how many pending invitations you can have out at any one time? Is that right?
I've not come across that, to be honest, Stephen. No, but what you'll find is, yeah, there's no limit to pending. Okay. I can't ask Rizard to connect again, and so don't worry that have I asked this person before. It will be pending until they accept.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, but I'm not aware of any limit on pending application to wait. So the key here is to think about your target market, who you want to reach out to. If it's a double word, use speech marks. Always put a location, and then I'm not selling anything. I'm just asking him if he's open to connect. You'll get an email when they accept your connection, and then That's the bit that makes a difference. Because, as we said earlier, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. Absolutely. So at that point, what do you want to happen? I find different ways of saying to people, thanks for connecting, how can I help you? I offer a complimentary 20 minutes on using LinkedIn. Happy to arrange a call together. Another one would be, thank you for connecting on LinkedIn. So imagine I'm an IFA and Rizard has connected to me. Thank you for connecting. I'm looking to build a strategic alliance with a mortgage broker. Are you open for a 10-minute chat? So you've got to find a way of moving them along for a conversation. Some people will, some people won't. But what you wouldn't do is, hi Rizard, thanks for connecting on LinkedIn. Here's my price list. Here's an event I'm running. You've got to kind of build up some rapport with them rather than jumping straight in to, let me sell you something. Please do not sell on LinkedIn. I had a request this morning from somebody selling me something in the invite. No, thank you, no. So I actually didn't accept that invite to connect. It's not a place to sell.
The same as we would if we were networking face to face, or it's getting to know, like, and trust, the phrase I often use. Yeah, people need to get to know you a bit about you before they're going to want to engage further, and then possibly inquire about your services. It's building that relationship up step by step.
It is. And, you know, sometimes people have a need now. Sometimes it might be months down the line. But you get to choose. So if you go onto my network, I've got no pending invitations. I did it this morning, but you will see people that are waiting to connect. And you can just accept or ignore your choice. And LinkedIn will then also make similar suggestions, people in the West Midlands. So it wants you to connect with people that you don't necessarily know. And you can see here, I've got my 7,500 connections, and they come in the order that you've just accepted them, date order. So if you've never asked anybody for a call, you can just message them from here. This is your hub, your connections hub. So Gary, thanks for connecting. I might have some useful connections. Are you open for a 10-minute chat? They can say yes or no. But what they will do is, once they're connected, they'll start to see what you're sharing here on the homepage.
Indeed.
And that's the bit where, you know, that runs alongside you reaching out to new people. The more active you are, the more visible you'll become, the more people that will come and view your profile. Some people don't spend any time on here. That's absolutely fine too. You can use this on your phone. So LinkedIn, download the app. What's great on the app is you can look at the homepage on the go. And if you share something from the app on the homepage, you can add a little medley of photographs, whereas you can't on here, you can only add one. The downside of the app though is if you come across a new connection and you ask them to connect, you cannot personalize the app. So they don't get that personal, hi, Rizard, are you open to connect? So my suggestion would be use LinkedIn on the go, but send your invites from the laptop because you can personalize it.
Simon's in a bit of a cheeky mood. He's listening to us saying, what are the biggest 3 flops of LinkedIn? What are the biggest 3 things you wouldn't or shouldn't do on LinkedIn? Dawn?
Yeah, so I would.
Made you cringe?
Yeah, so I would. Yes, I would say your profile, don't make it all about you. Going back to, if you are looking for a job, do make it about you. You can actually upload your CV as well onto your profile. The other one is negative. I am never negative on social media. That's my personal preference. I don't appreciate anywhere on this homepage people being negative. And the use of bad language is just not necessarily in my book. I will tend to unfollow or remove connections that are rude or you know, offensive. Yeah, just there's no place for that on social media in my eyes. So they'd be the 3 things I would be suggesting.
But I guess equally, it's a great place to have a structured, well-balanced debate that engages with people. So asking questions on your homepage could be a good move, I guess. What do you think about
Yes.
X, Y, and Z? Share something. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I often hear the phrase "content is king," and you may well be talking about it briefly now. But it is about
Yeah.
how can you engage.
Absolutely, and having that professional engagement is what LinkedIn. It's a professional business network. That's so. As long as you think to yourself, "Am I professional? Am I adding value?" Another great thing here on the homepage is you can create a poll. These are new and these are great. So you can create a poll with questions, different questions, up to, I think you've got 6 questions. What do you think? So think about you adding value here. So if you've never had a business coach before, what 3 things would be most important to you? So again, you're engaging with them, and you can have that out for a week, a day, 3 days. You choose your time frame, but yeah, being professional, adding value, and sharing your marketing material is a great thing to do. We haven't got time to talk about groups, but you will see here on groups, they're great pockets of people on LinkedIn to again engage with, connect with, and yeah, just be part of an online community.
I'm conscious of
So
time. A question
yes,
from Sarah. She's just saying, should she focus on her company page or on her personal page? Which should come first?
personal page first. Yeah, absolutely. People buy from people, so use the personal page first. You cannot connect to people by the company page anyway. Company page is just to broadcast and get your logo out there. But yes, the connection requests will come person to person. But you can, on your own email footers outside of LinkedIn, you can put your LinkedIn profile details. You can put your company, LinkedIn company details, followers on LinkedIn. So, promote your LinkedIn activity outside of LinkedIn as well.
Brilliant. Just before, so just conscious of time, I just want to check in with Pam. I know I've been monitoring questions coming in. Pam, have I missed anybody or any questions? We've got about 5-6 minutes left. I think Pam's just monitoring the Facebook questions as well. She's not coming back, so I'm presuming there's nothing else there. So, Dawn, I guess just to round things off, what are your Dawn's top tips? We've talked about some of the things not to do. What would you suggest, if somebody's sort of, not the newbie, but, hasn't perhaps been as focused on LinkedIn as they could have been in the past? What would you say are the top 3 tips?
Yeah. So I would be saying complete your profile. That's without doubt the most important thing. Don't leave people guessing what you do. If they can't understand from your headline what you do, you will be missing major opportunities. I would also say diarise LinkedIn. We all need time working on our business and not in it. So working on your business. So diarise LinkedIn, whether that's 10 minutes a day or 1 hour a week. Make sure that you spend time on it. And then create a bank of material you can share, whether that'll be Canva, videos. Just create a bank of material you can upload to your profile and just share regularly. And with those 3 things in place, you can make LinkedIn work on a consistent approach. It doesn't need to take over your whole life. We're all busy people, but we need time to work on our business.
I love that, and you know that we talk a lot, Dawn, about working on your business, not in your business, and also that I completely agree. Once it's a bit like I go back to my parents who were teachers, and they always used to say, once you've taught a year group for the first year, it gets much easier in many ways. I'm not saying teaching is easy, but you're then using the same lesson plans and taking them, adapting them, but you've got the basics to work on. And I guess it's the same with anything. If you've got a bank of material, of posts, of articles, you can then start to recycle it over a period of time. Perhaps over 6 months, a year. What are your thoughts on that, Dawn?
Absolutely. Some people are not marketeers. They have blanks, that it's just not something that they're interested in, and that's fine. But there are some really easy ways to make something topical or start a conversation. Just get some visibility out there. But for sure, yes, you need a bank of material, or get a great graphic designer to put some things together for you. One thing to say is when you are sharing from the home page and you want to attach an image, it has to be a JPEG. So you cannot upload a PDF. So your profile is PDF, think of the P, and a JPEG is in the home page. Why it's different, I have no idea. It just is. Thank you.
Brilliant.
So I'll stop sharing now.
Yeah, no, well, thank you so much, Dawn. I'm just going to share my screen back if I can find the right control. There we go. Just share my screen. Just to finish off with, I'm going to just share a quote from a great coach, Jim Rohn, and he's got several quotes. He talks about success being, doing simple tasks every single day. And I think that for me is the one thing that you always highlight and emphasize, Dawn, about, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. About doing things every single day. You talked about 10 minutes, 10 minutes of LinkedIn while you're eating your cereals in the morning, while you're watching, I don't know what's on TV these days. I think half the soaps have finished, but whatever you're doing, 10, 15 minutes of just, perusing, commenting, liking, sharing on LinkedIn to build your credibility is really, really important. So I hope that our listeners have all got something from the time they spent with us today. Dawn, do you just want to share again, if somebody wants to contact you, what that next step, what that 20 minutes might look like, what they can do, what they get out of it?
Absolutely. So yeah, connect to me on LinkedIn, and as I say, I offer complimentary, and just really where you are, because everybody's on a different journey. Some people are active, some people aren't, some people want to get going. So hopefully I've given people a different perspective on it. So yeah, I will just tailor it to them. We've got 20 minutes together. What do you need to know? And yeah, happy to do that.
Brilliant. I've known Dawn for a long time now, both professionally and through networking circles and BNI, and I thoroughly recommend connecting with Dawn. She's got a whole wealth of information, knowledge, and top tips on how you can make the best of your LinkedIn profile. So do absolutely thoroughly recommend her. And I've talked a lot about discipline, Dawn, today. I'm going to make a shameless plug of our latest offer here at Action Coach. It's all about discipline as well. And it's our 30x challenge. You may well have heard us talk about it in the last couple of weeks, Dawn. 30 videos. Our founder, Brad Sugars, 30 years ago, started Action Coach. We've got a great offer to celebrate that at the moment. 30 videos over 30 days. It's half an hour a day to help you work on your business, not just in the business. There's not an ongoing commitment. It's £30 for every 2 weeks. So 30 videos over of half an hour. So it's £90 in total to do all 30 videos. And if you're interested in that, my contact details are on the screen there. Would really encourage you to take time out to look at your LinkedIn profile, to look at how you can work on your business, to perhaps take half an hour a day just to think about how you can, to participate in our 30x challenge and think about how you can grow your business and work on it going forwards. But for now, Dawn, thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. Really appreciate it. If any more questions do come in, as I said, we will absolutely make sure that either Dawn or myself reach out to you. On Thursday, we've got another colleague of mine, another BNI colleague, actually, Ed Jones. We're talking about websites and SEO and how to really make sure that when your website goes into when your name goes into the Google search, that you come out at the top of the Google rankings there, how to improve your SEO, your search engine optimization, and how to really create a website that stands out. So that's Thursday at 12 o'clock. And but for now, thank you, Dawn, for being with us. I hope everyone has an absolutely fantastic week, that you stay safe, you stay well, and look forward to catching up with you later on in the week. But for now, thank you very much. Thank you, Dawn, and have a great rest of your day.